guys. So today's video is going to be a new series I want to start here on my channel called Make Up Your Mind, where I'm going to do my makeup and talk to you about some stuff that I'm thinking about, things that are on my mind. And the goal is just to have a discussion and kind of see where we are with certain things, what we think about certain things. In today's video, I wanted to talk about kind of what's going on in the beauty community. I don't want this to come across as a tea video or a drama video. In fact, we're going to get into drama channels in this video, but more than anything, I just kind of wanted to do a temperature check, like see what we're all thinking. Have we figured out the patterns of why we keep ending up in this place? And is it really as bad over here as everybody says it is? All that and more in this here video. Before we get started, make sure you check the down bar for links on most social media platforms. Come hang out with me on Patreon. Come listen to my podcast. Lots of stuff going on over there. And since this is going to be a chit chat, get ready with me style video, that means I'm going to have a naked face in 3, 2, 1. It's been so long since I did that. Okay, so far I have brows and primer on. I feel like kind of doing something different today, and by different I mean colorful. You guys know I don't play with color that much, but I mentioned recently I've been feeling kind of inspired to take a step in that direction, and I've had this photo from Alexandra Claire saved on my Instagram for, I don't know, a hot minute it seems like. What I like about this is first of all, she's stunning and super talented, obviously, but it's colorful. There's some purple, some magenta, some blue, and it's kind of blown out, and I don't know. It's colorful in the way that I'm down to play with color. So I'm gonna attempt to do something similar to this, and ooh, tag it, girl. And as you can see, she has definitely big, beautiful, like the exact type of eye shape I'm super jealous of. Eyes, and I do not have eyes shaped this way, so we'll see if I can recreate something similar on myself while I talk to you guys about today's topic. I'm gonna link everything that I'm using in the description box below so I don't get off track, but I will start off by telling you I'm taking a neutral color working out of the Makeup Geek matrix system, and as you can tell in the photo/video I showed you, her eyeshadow is doing a very distinct kind of wing. So I'm going to start by applying a transition shade in my crease and kind of beginning to map out that shape. So I've never talked frankly about, I don't think so at least, things that have been going on in the beauty community, because I think that once we start naming people and pointing to specific scenarios, depending on the person who's listening to you talk about it, they may be so caught up in their own emotions and feelings about said person or event that they're having a hard time kind of seeing the forest for the trees. And this is very true even in our real lives, I believe. That's why some of us end up in less than desirable situations with people, because things can be literally right in front of our face, but because we're like, oh, but this person did this and this is what he's really like and you guys just don't know, we have a hard time seeing things for what they are. Our emotions get the best of us, and I don't think that's any different with our relationships to people online. I guess what I'm trying to say is I don't think it's inherently a bad thing to have emotional investments in people and situations, because I think that's how we stay bonded and are able to maintain relationships. Like if you could only see things for the worst aspects of them, you're probably not going to have any interest in getting through stuff, working things out. It doesn't make you a bad or foolish person, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And I've definitely talked to you guys about kind of the way marketing and advertisements tend to play on your emotions. I've talked a lot about the beauty community as a whole. I tend not to get into specifics, as I said, but there is something that I've been trying to kind of illuminate for you guys for a while, and depending on who is watching the video, this message is either something that is looked at as like aggressive or offensive or harsh, but it's just the reality. And the reality is, when you assign value in a parasocial relationship, I have a whole video about parasocial relationships, which I will link down below, to people that you don't know, they are doing so to influence your buying habits. And once you exchange money to someone, it's almost like exchanging actual energy to them. Like, this is how the relationship builds, and we can be very blinded to our preferences and emotions towards people we don't even know to such an extent that it causes, for whatever reason, a lot of uproar and chaos in an online community that doesn't really make sense. It makes no sense for things to get to the point that they get to, and we will get into like kind of how I believe we've gotten this far, but I'm just trying to say, don't come up in here trying to misinterpret what I say and be offended for no reason. Like, I'm just trying to have a conversation with y'all, and I'm hoping that it's going to be beneficial. I ain't trying to like air anybody out to dry, so don't make it about that. It doesn't have to be. So I know that there is a lot of talk in the community lately about whether or not the beauty community itself is just inherently negative, and then people are quick to either say, oh, hell yeah, or that's not fair, there's tons of people who aren't, and da-da-da-da-da. And I just want to say that from my perspective, depending on who's spinning the narrative, if you know what I mean, I think it's extremely unfair to paint the entire community as anything, especially because the person who made these accusations, Dane Shawson, profited greatly off of this group of people. So I don't know where he gets off coming in here and just being like, you guys are all a bunch of malicious, backstabbing, greedy snatch heads and I'm out. Like, I just can't even believe the nerve, like the utter lack of self-awareness to think that you gonna get away with that is like beyond me. But okay, sis, go off. I do, however, think, and this might get me in hot water, that there is a little bit of truth to some of what he said some of the time. I mean, one of my favorite expressions my dad taught me when I was little is, even a broken clock is right twice a day. From where I'm sitting, the toxic aspects of the beauty community I've been talking about for a long time. Tons of video has been made about it. We've been known about the issues that we have, and I also feel like steps have been made in the right direction to try to kind of get some of them under control and hold people accountable. And the majority of what I see being more toxic than anything, and what actually matters to me, is just telling people about, or excuse me, not telling people the truth about the things that you are promoting to them in order for them to purchase from you. I don't have a problem with people doing sponsored content. I've got a problem with people doing affiliate codes. I used to have a very different opinion about that, even as recently as a year ago. But the more you work in social media, the more you see how the sausage is made. You just start to understand things. And I'm not saying that if you don't work in social media, you can't possibly understand. But I think one of the major points I would like to make in this video, and I'm going to start by making it now, is like, we just don't have to assume the absolute worst out of people all the time. And assuming that people are making sponsored content or doing affiliate code marketing or whatever, that it automatically must mean they're lying or that they're shady, I think is just really unfair. And I also think that all these conversations that we have around money in the beauty community as a whole, I think whether we realize it or not, it's giving some of us, and I can speak for myself, I would say that I'm one of these people, it's giving some of us a really negative understanding of money and the conversations that have around that having money is dirty and earning money is dirty and charging what you're worth is dirty. And women, for the most part, I know there's exceptions, but for the most part, already kind of have a hard time asking for what they're worth in terms of their jobs or getting promotions or asking for more money or getting paid equally. So to continue to have this negative, truly negative in the correct sense of the word, attitude around money and earning money, I don't think is good for us. I just don't. So as far as all of this kerfuffle about the beauty community being negative and whatnot, like, this is where my issue with drama channels comes in. Wayne Goss recently did a video, and I'm a big fan of Wayne, so I just think he's so mature and handles things really well, and he's no nonsense, and I think he's just a stand-up dude. He said, and what I got from it was that these drama channels and these just channels in general that are dedicated completely to tearing people down and exposing them and this, that, and the third have a lot to do with how we've gotten to where we are, and I agree and disagree with him on that. He has spoken a time or two about how, you know, shady and kind of sneaky and unrealistic sometimes the people profiting off of you in the beauty space can be. And I think that is the time and the place that the drama channels, were the most effective and helpful, and I think they illuminated things for a lot of people that they just would not otherwise know. However, I talked about this at the beginning of the year when I said I just don't know how much I F with drama channels anymore, because the same things that they're accusing other creators of doing, like being money hungry and this, that, and the third, you'd have a hard time illuminating for me that they're not doing the exact same thing, because here's how the algorithm works, okay? When you make content with somebody else's name, particularly somebody really successful, in your thumbnail or in your title, people are just going to watch that. I mean, that is how that entire type of platform is built. People are also inherently nosy. People also like to talk shit. Like, this is just human nature, and it's been going on for a long time. I get all that. I'm not saying it makes anyone who participates in it bad or good, but I do think that over the past year, maybe two, we've really seen how these types of environments online are contributing to some of this negativity. And I'm not going to sit here and have drama channels pretend that that's not the case. Let's call a spade a spade. Y'all can sit around all day and criticize everybody else. Y'all got some shit to own up to as well. Because for me, there are just certain things that they talk about and that I just do not consider drama. It's nobody's business. Like, if somebody is getting a divorce or dating someone or breaking up with someone or they're not friends with someone anymore, I just don't know why that's something we need to know. Like, when it comes down to it, if people are being scandalous and taking people's money and being sneaky and this, that, and the third, like, for sure, let's talk about that. Because once again, I'm not a big person who trusts makeup. I don't trust companies as a whole, because their whole objective is to get your money. That's what they're there for. So let me know. You know what I'm saying? Let me know if there are content creators or businesses out there being shady and taking money and doing things that they're not being forthright about. Like, I completely agree that is necessary, and I'm glad that those conversations have been happening. But as I said, that ain't it, sis. That ain't all you guys are doing. Like, let's be real. Admittedly, I have been keeping up with what's been going on in the community for the past 2 months, but prior to that, it's been about a year. So in some cases, you can't avoid it also. All my periph on YouTube, like as far as the suggested page or the watch next, it's always this. You can't get away from it. That's the way it is. And eventually you cave and you're like, well, okay, well, what's going on? But I've stayed out of it and completely just ignored it for the past little while, mostly because I just got bigger fish to fry, you know what I'm saying? And also, I don't care, be the change and all that. I just felt like it was turning really unnecessary. It felt like a lot of witch hunts. It felt like a lot of ripping each other apart. And then on top of that, this is just my personal opinion. I don't believe that you sit around and watch people criticize other people on the internet and rip them apart and find fault with what they do and, spill tea and da-da-da-da-da without internalizing some of that. I don't think it's good for you in the larger sense of the word. Like, I'm not saying a little bit here and there is just the worst thing you could do in your trash. I am saying, though, like, over time, narrative and story is very important, and it shapes the way we look at ourselves and those around us. So I don't believe, I'm sorry, if you're sitting around watching people talk, maybe not so favorably or spilling tea. I'm going to get to the verbiage of that too in a minute. I don't know why I keep saying it, because I hate that expression. I just think over a while you might start judging other people in your real life that way, or worse, yourself, because Brene Brown said this once in a book, and I completely agree. Like, the more judgmental we are of others and this less amount of grace or leniency we have for others, typically that's about how much we're going to have for ourselves. We tend to, as without, so within. That's just the way we are as humans. It's the way we're wired. So I don't know. I just don't think it's good for you all the time, especially because, like, we have these big scandals. We have, like, Drammageddon and Carmageddon and this, that, and third. And when that happens, like, these drama channels are making a lot of money. They're churning out a lot of content. They have a lot to talk about. And I guess I get that, because, like, how can you avoid talking about this? It's huge. There's a lot of issues and problems it brings up, and I think we should be talking about them. But a lot of the year, nothing is happening, and they're still making videos complaining and ripping people apart. I'm sorry. I don't know why I keep saying I'm sorry. I'm not sorry at all. Moderation is kind of the key to everything here, and I don't think we're seeing a lot of moderation taking place in these spaces. It's just unleash the dogs, and that's what we're talking about from now on. Now, I say all this, and I also want to let you guys know that not one person that's get covered in all these drama channels and that gets talked about, I don't stand them. I don't stand anybody. I really don't. I think it's really unhealthy behavior to go to bat for and fight with people over the internet, over total strangers. But I don't have any strongly held favoritism towards any of these people. I just don't. So I'm not even saying all this to defend any particular person. I'm just saying that as a community, as a collective, I don't think it's good for us as a group. So that's what I mean when I say I think Wayne was right and he was wrong. We do need certain things to come out. Certain things need to be talked about. There's just certain resources that drama channels have, and the time to look into all of this, that it does protect people in a way that they need to be protected. But there's just some stuff y'all don't need to protect us from, and it doesn't matter. And that brings me to my next point, which is why some of the figures in this community have been allowed to thrive the way that they have. And I think that has a lot to do with the fact that drama channels do report on everything. You know, you report on everything, you make a big deal out of everything, and then when something really serious happens, there are certain figures in this community who have gotten away with just being like, oh, they're just haters, oh, it's just drama, oh, they're just talking shit, oh, they're just trying to use my name for ad revenue. Like, unfortunately, in the internet, in the day of the internet and social media, we're not really looking at things with shades of gray. Things tend to be very black and white, and there's so much nuance. And also, two things can be true at once. Like, drama channels can absolutely be using your name and your likeness for click-through and for AdSense, but you also could be doing some really shady stuff sometimes. And this is definitely not true with everyone, but there are certain people, I'll just say it, like in the few times on my channel that I've been like, I don't want to have Jeffree Star's products on my channel. I don't F with him. Like, that's just not my gig. I don't support that. I don't want anyone to think I support that. That is a boundary, just so we're all on the same page. Even on the internet, you were allowed to have boundaries. And that was a boundary for me, where it's like, I talk about makeup all the time. I talk about lots of brands I don't like. I talk about lots of brands that I do like. I share all types of things with you guys in the beauty space. So it was always so weird to me that if I ever said anything about Jeffree Star, all these 14, 15-year-olds be in my comment section acting the fool. You guys look crazy, just so you know. You actually look nuts. The problem is, Jeffree, for example, likes to do this thing where anytime anyone criticizes him or anyone brings any of his behavior to light, all he has to say is like, they're haters, they're jealous, they want clout, they want this, they want that. And like, let's be clear. There are definitely people out there who are interested in that kind of stuff, but y'all need to also understand that, like, tons of people don't care about that shit. Anytime somebody comes on my channel and if I say I don't like something, they'd be like, you're jealous and you're a hater because you're just jealous because you want their money and their fame and their da-da-da-da-da. Like, every time that happens, all I can think is, in this moment, you are showing your hand. You are showing me that these things, this money, this attention, these followers mean a lot to you. So you can't understand why anybody would take issue with someone that you value unless they themselves also truly, really care about money and followers and clout. So that's the only reason they would ever have a problem with anything. Like, take integrity, take morals, take ethics, take boundaries out of the equation. You care a lot about this stuff, so you assume everybody else does too. Like, I just don't care about that stuff. I mean, I know that's nuts. Like, some people may or may not believe that. There's a certain amount of success and financial stability I want out of life, but it ain't the most important thing in the world to me, ever. As far as what's happening right now, I think the worst part about it is how lightly it's being taken, because in my opinion, people are treating the situation like it's tea. I still keep hearing drama channels referring to allegations as tea and evidence as receipts. Like, words have meaning. You can't walk. This is serious, like what's being talked about. And I don't want to get into the specifics of it because YouTube is just not having it. And once again, once I talk to specifically on things, people tend to get up in their feelings, and I want to focus on the facts. And the facts are, this situation is really serious, but unfortunately it's being reported on and talked about in an environment where we tend to get really up in arms sometimes about frivolous stuff that doesn't matter. And then again, that verbiage isn't helping anything. It's not tea. It's not receipts. It's crimes we're talking about. It's really serious stuff. If any drama channels watch this, let me bring it in. Let me tell you something. In the beginning of the video, I said it's not fair to broad strokes paint the beauty community. And likewise, I admit it's probably not fair to broad strokes paint the drama community. So please take this as constructive criticism and do with it what you will. I think that we're in a phase now with all of this that we should all be trying to figure out what we can do better to make this space back to what it once was, which was a shit ton of fun. That's all I'm trying to say. I mean, no offense. I'm not trying to say you guys are bad guys, but like, let's all take a look at our behavior, not just you guys telling the community what they need to be doing different. Does that make sense, what I'm trying to say? So I'm gonna turn the camera off and do my complexion makeup really quick, and I will finish up the eyes and cheeks and lips on camera with y'all. So far, I feel like I'm kind of close to what I was trying to get here with this look. She just, once again, has a little more lid space to play with, and I'm kind of thinking maybe I need to make this blue a little more purple. So I'm gonna fix that and I'll be back. Okay, I'm back. So, fun fact, usually when I do videos like this, I have a script or something that I'm trying to work off of, so I stay on message and don't forget to like close up a thought. So I'm sorry if this is all over the place, but I do remember talking about being attacked for not supporting Jeffree Star, and I do want to talk about that really quick, because I feel like what happens in that situation is we are literally witnessing the preference of product over people, which is something I've dealt with a lot on my channel, where people attack me because I just do things a little different over here, you know? Like, I don't bring a lot of makeup in my house. I'm not in any brand's pocket. I don't work closely with any brands, actually. Like, I'm just doing my own thing. So I'm real quick to be like, I don't think this is worth the money. I don't think you need to buy this. And people, for one reason or the other, take that very personally. I mean, I'm assuming they're taking it personally just based solely off the type of comments that I get that just don't make any sense to me. Like, to call me every name in the book because I'm negative. That's never made any sense to me. Like, what is negativity in this moment? It is me saying I don't like something, but then you tear me apart, but you're not negative in this moment. Like, it's just so interesting to me. And that is something about, you know, Dane Shawson's little note he wrote that I found so infuriating, because I'm really tired of negativity being thrown around in this community to explain away somebody's valid point. Like, it feels very gaslighty to me. I've said it before. If somebody in your real life, like if you came to someone in your real life and you were like, hey man, I don't appreciate you doing A, B, C, and D. Like, that stuff bums me out. I'm not into it. Here's why I don't like it. Here's proof that you're doing it. Here's evidence to support that I don't have to put up with this. And then if that person looked at you and they were like, stop being negative, like, what does that say about us when we're on the internet? And every time someone doesn't agree with us or sheds light on something, we want to call it negativity, you know? And I know just a little while ago I spoke about how drama channels like to talk about negative stuff. And once again, as I've also said in this video, two things can be true at once. And, you know, there is nuance here. I just think that when we talk about me, for example, expressing distaste or reasons for not wanting to patronize a certain brand, we call that negativity. But when we're talking about other people, we call it tea or facts. Like, it's just so interesting to me. It just genuinely sometimes feels like we really value products over the people in this community. And I think that's where we're getting in trouble, because listen, once again, going back to boundaries, if you, for whatever reason, wanted to buy from Jeffree Star Cosmetics this whole time, and that's your prerogative, I mean, I don't want to, I'm not trying to call you a bad person. Like, I don't think you reach people by berating them for their choices. So give me the benefit of the doubt right now and understand that that's not what I'm trying to do. I would just say to that, like, this whole narrative that I hear all the time where it's like, well, I don't really care about all that stuff. Like, I'm just here for the makeup. Like, fine, fair enough. But I think we do need to take a little more inventory and care about the products that we're buying, not just the products that we're buying, but the people who we are supporting. And once again, like, financial support enables so many things to happen. Like, you can't do anything without money. And not to mention, this is another point I want to make, going into kind of this cancel culture and like kind of, should we be canceling people, which I don't even believe works anyway. I don't see a point in canceling anybody. It doesn't work. Like, it just doesn't. So I think we need to find other avenues to get a point across or get something done. There's a lot of talk about these two particular individuals that are kind of inspiring all this kerfuffle in the community about how their past behavior was just them being shocking. It was just them trying to be shocking and controversial or whatever. And to that I say, like, okay, what is your point? Like, that never has made any sense to me. And I think it might just be because we live in a time where not only is attention one of the only commodities that really matters anymore. Once upon a time that was money, but now you just can't get money without attention. So attention above all. But some people are just willing to get attention by any means necessary, and we cannot just excuse behavior because they wanted to be shocking. That doesn't really make any sense to me. Like, that is a calculated risk on the part of the person who did said shocking behavior. You don't get to do things or say things that are shocking or that are intended to incite rage and then be like, whoa, 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 whoa. When that happens, like, you very well had to have known, hopefully were very aware of the fact that that would get that behavior or that reaction. If you weren't aware of it, then that's almost worse. But I also don't subscribe to the idea that just because somebody apologized or just because it happened a long time ago that you have to accept that apology. Once again, put it in real life perspective. If somebody in your real life did something that crossed a boundary or upset you or offended you or just really made you question your willingness to associate with them, and you told them that and they apologized, you do not have to accept that apology. You just don't. Like, boundaries are so important, and I think ultimately that's what bothers me a lot about the stuff that we see. And it's kind of this is what I will say about the drama stuff. If drama channels would contextualize the behavior or talk more about the implications of said behavior as opposed to, this is, once again, I'm guilty of sin because I've been watching these videos since all this stuff started. And I will say, if I watch 5 drama videos, all 5 drama videos are showing the same pictures, the same evidence, the same tweets, the same comments, the same, but like, it's all the same thing over and over again. But we really need to be talking, I think, a little more about the implications, once again, of this behavior, because I'm not crazy about the idea of normalizing certain types of behavior. And on a good day, we're normalizing it. On a bad day, we're calling it iconic. And that to me is just, I don't know if that's the move, you guys. Like, what are we doing here? Like, I don't think I want to be in a situation where we're rewarding something so bad. Like, and once again, this is very serious stuff. So I'm going to say this again because I just want it to be clear. I'm really not trying to make this video to rake anybody over the coals or make it a you versus me thing. I really wanted this to be like, let's look at the role we're all playing here and try to learn from it, because I actually truly do think that this community is beautiful and positive, and I wouldn't still be here if there wasn't things about it that I loved. But as much as I hate to admit it, like I said, certain people's assessments of our community have a small amount of truth to it, and it's just something that we all have a role to play in, which I've been saying for a long time. That is something else about Wayne's video I agree with. I've been saying for a long time, like, we are deciding who's running the show. We're deciding what brands are selling out and what influencers are at the top of the heap. Like, that's us. You know what I mean? Like, it's so easy to make all these drama videos about them and be like, they're the problem. But all we're doing is just giving them more and more attention all the time. For blush, I'm going to use Captivating from Tarte. I don't even know if they still make this anymore, but it's just kind of like a corally, peachy color. Typically, when I do something really cool tone and like purple on the eyes, I want like some warmth to the rest of the face. For lips off camera, I'm gonna do the same thing I always do, which is Beauty by Christian Audette with Milani Color Statement lip liner in the number 4. And I will do that off camera because I can't talk while I'm putting on lipstick anyway. And yeah, then I'll finally wrap this up. So be right back. Alright guys, so this is the finished look. I ended up adding some lip gloss. This is Claire by Buxom, surprising no one. I think I got about as close to this particular makeup look that I'm going to get, because once again, I don't have these big, beautiful, bodacious eyeballs that she has. And I didn't have the exact palette, so I got close enough. I'm pretty happy with this. This is a really cool color combination. I really like it. I'm feeling pretty inspired to mess around with color in general right now. So if you guys find any really cool makeup looks on Instagram, please send them to me. I would love to recreate them. But to sum this video up, again, I feel like I've said it 100 times because I don't want to come across holier than thou, or that I'm preaching to you, or that I've got all the answers and follow me. Not the case. I just see a space and a place on the internet that has the potential to really take a turn and be what we all want it to be. And that's not to say that there's not tons of great facets of this community, but there's always room for improvement, always room to grow, be the change you want to see, promote more things that you like, more people. I don't think we need to turn a leaf and just suddenly go back to only kissing brands' butts and only talking about good stuff in the product sphere of this environment, because I don't think that's the answer either. But we need to celebrate the good people and the good moments and the good videos and the good messages. We need to talk about that more. Let's say that. As always, I like it from my patrons. I told you guys on my last video that I was considering making my Patreon like my full-on booktube or something like that. I haven't decided if that's what I'm going to do or not, but we have been talking more about books and planners and journaling and art journaling and things like that a lot more over there. So if you're interested in that, definitely come hang out with us. The live streams are my favorite. I say it all the time. My Patreon live stream fam, like, they literally feel like friends. I don't know if that makes me a weirdo. Is that weird that I genuinely believe these people are my friends? All that being said, I hope you guys are having an amazing day. Check the down bar for links to all my social media platforms, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye.